And it's recording. All right, team. Listening. Eyes and ears towards me. Here we go. So exercise 3H. The last part of percentages, you've learned how to convert anything to a percentage and then a percentage to anything. So decimals or fractions. That was 3G. 3H. You are now combining that skill and you're applying it. This is something like if you got 34 out of 40 for your test, how do you work out the percentage? And really, it's exactly the same as what you did in 3G, except this isn't an application type question. How do you do it? Very simple. So here, I want you to copy down A, 34 out of 40. Say that's what you got for your test. How do you translate that to a percentage? Well, you start off with A, question. 34 out of 40 is the same thing as saying 34 over 40. Okay, so the word out of, that's the same thing as saying over. Okay, because it's 34 over the total, which is 40. Now, you've got yourself a fraction there. 34 out of 40. We learnt in 3G. If you want to convert anything to a fraction, there was only one thing you had to do. What was that? Times by? 100. Very good. Anything that you want to convert to a percentage, you times by 100. Multiply by 100. So here, I want you to write the step. 34 over 40 multiplied to 100. Okay, if you can do that, that will actually turn it into a percentage. Now your job is to work on your factors, your multiplication skills to make that easier. Okay, my hint for you at the time was I wanted you to simplify this. Wherever you can, simplify it early. Now there are two numbers that I can see. I can see 34 and 40 both have an even number. They're both even, so you can divide them both by 2. But I can also see that 140 both have a 0 at the end, which means it's a multiple of what? 10. So I know that 10 goes both in 40 and 100. I personally would try dividing a larger number. Instead of dividing 34 and 40 by 2, I'd rather divide 140 by 10. Dividing by 10 makes it smaller. Okay, so I would then say, let's simplify this fraction. So 100 as a fraction is 100 over 1. I'm going to divide the top by 10, the bottom by 10, because they both have a common factor there. So I'm going to highlight it to remind you. 140 have a common factor of 10.
4 and 10.
4 and 10, very good. So my next line is 34. 10 goes into 44 times. Multiplied to 10 goes into 110 times. I've got a much better fraction now. It's 34 out of 4, but I can still see common factors. What two numbers can you see that has common factors? Very good. You got 34 and 4 or 10 and 4 as well. Okay, they're both. So top numbers and bottom numbers. These two are even. These two are even. You choose which one you want to half. So in my case, I'm going to choose again 10 and 4. Just because it's just easier for me there. So 2 goes into 10. 2 goes into 4. Let's go into the next line. We're reducing this fraction down to 34 over what? 2. 5. Very good. Over 1. So now, that's an odd number, that's an even number. They don't have any common factors there. But I can still see another number that I can simplify further.
34 and 2.
34 and 2. Both of these, top and bottom, they're both even numbers there. Remember, you can't simplify both bottoms or both tops, so you have to simplify top and bottom. So here I've got 34 and 2, and they're both even numbers again. So I can now, again, divide this by 2, divide this by 2, and this now becomes, how many 2's in 34? 17, very good. So half of 34 is 17. And this is where it gets a bit tricky if we didn't have a calculator, but we would do it by hand. We need to figure out what 17 times 5 is. Okay, so putting them both together, 17 times 5, and we got 1 times 1, which we know is just 1. But what's 17 times 5, which I don't know as well. Anyone can do it in their head. Otherwise, I'm doing it long.
It is...
Alright, I'm done.
It's 65.
85.
85. You almost got me there. So, what is your answer? Is it 85?
Over 1.
85%.
Very good. Don't forget the percent symbol. So you were changing things to a percent. So what I've just done there, so you can see, is what is 34 out of 40 as a percentage? The first step was simply times by 100. All of these steps is fraction. Everything is to do with fractions. So from here, that's what you're training. So that's what I'm testing on Wednesday. I want to see your skills in multiplying, simplifying equivalent fractions, adding, subtracting. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, but the first step, that's all you have to do for 3H. So 3H is changing it into a percentage. Your final answer, make sure to put a percent. If you don't do that on the test, I'm taking a mark off. Okay? I need to see units. So you must have that percent. If you just wrote 85, I don't know what that is. 85 eggs, 85 houses, $85. I need to know if it's 85%. What is the unit? So if you don't put in the units, I'm warning you, I know I'm going to get some of you here. If you don't put in units, I am going to take the mark off. No.
Wait, you can't use notes?
No.
Oh, I'm done for.
You're using what you know, what you practiced. All right, here we go.
It's a Wednesday.
But then you've also got your homework, which you've got your notes. As long as you've done your homework, it's part of the skill. I'm testing how much you know from your own head without notes or anything like that.
That's 13 over 30.
Paper. Ugh.
How many questions is it?
I do. It's about 2 to 3 pages long. I thought better of you, Blaze. Now it's recorded. It's down in history.
He's videoing it.
When you watch this video again on YouTube for Ex3H, we will hear that Blaze was sucking on his pen. All right, here we go. Next one, 13 out of 30. Same drill. We are trying to convert this into a percentage. Very good. Write this down. 13 out of 30. Multiply by 100. That's how you convert it to a percentage. And then from here, it's up to you how good your fractions are. So that's the only step that you need to change it to a percentage. Here we go. What numbers can you see? 130. Very good. Common factor is? 10. Very good, Ryder. So we now divide them both by 10, and I'm going to reduce it further. So 13 over, how many 10s in 30?
12.
No.
3.
3. 3 times how many 10s in 100?
I was close.
10.
10. Very good. So we got 10 over 1. And you ask yourself, are there any common factors here?
No.
No. So the only thing we can do here is 13 times the 10. So top with top, and then bottom with bottom. Notice I put it in that step so that you don't confuse that with addition. Addition is different to multiplication, so that's why I got that step there. Okay? So now we're multiplying them together. 13 times 10, 130. 3 times 1? 3. Now, we can't leave our answers as 130 over 3%. We like it as either a mixed fraction, or you can write it as a whole number with decimals. Now, I prefer you writing it as mixed fractions, so you work on your fraction skills. So, how do I change 130 over 3 into mixed fractions again? What do you have to do?
You have to say how many times it goes into 3.
Very good. So, starting off with 130. How many times does 3 get into 130? Let's see. 3 into 1, 0 times. 3 into 13, how many times? 4. Remainder?
1.
1. And then how many 3s in 10?
3.
3. Remainder?
1.
1. So that means I have 43 holes. So it fits 43 holes
3.
with a remainder of 1 over 3. Am I done?
No.
What am I missing?
Percentage.
Very good. I want you to have the units. Again, you don't put the units. I am taking marks off because it doesn't make sense. We don't know what we're doing. Okay, it's 43 and a third %. That's what it means. So this is your first question. That's your method. Your job is to convert values into percentages. Okay, so have a look at the working solution. That's how I want you to do it. Question, method, answer. Okay, question, method, answer, the way I've laid it out. Vertical layout. I don't want to see any horizontal layout.
I just want to get killed.
All right, one last skill to do. What you see over here, this one, you're going to be able to do exactly the same thing. Just be careful. 60 cents as a percentage of $5. I often see students in the test do this. They write 60 over 5, but this is wrong. Why?
close.
What was it?
5 over 6.
No, not 5 over 60 either.
60 over 500.
Very good. Why is it 60?
It's $5 is 500%.
Very good. When you're comparing units, make sure it's the same quantity. You can't compare 60 cents out of 5 because that doesn't make sense. That's cents and that's dollars. They have to be in the same quantity or units for comparison. So this is the correct way. 60 over 500, and then you convert it to a percentage. Okay, listening? Listening. This is a common mistake, so I just want you to pay attention there. All these units, you cannot write 2 out of 800. You have to make sure the units are the same.
2,000 out of 800.
2,000 out of 800 is correct for the next one. Okay, so starting off, B should be 2,000 over 800. And remember, this is in meters now. So when you want to convert it to percentages, times by 100. So make sure the starting step is correct. 60 over 5 is wrong. 5 over 60 is wrong. Okay, so I'm going to do it in red so that you know that's wrong, and that's right. Okay? Now, last skill. Here we go. This is the skill I want you to learn. 2 skills for today. 3H. Listening. Eyes and ears towards me. Active listening or active note-taking. Second skill that you want to learn is how do you take a percentage of. So you know how to change a fraction or a quantity into a percentage. How do you find a percentage of something? So say you wanted to buy a shirt that was $128 and they said they want to know what 25% of that is. So 25% of 128 or 155% of 60. How do you work it out? So let's start. I'm going to write the question and then the method and the answer, right? So here we go. 25% means 25 out of 100. That's what percent means. What does of mean again? What does of mean? Times. It's multiplication. A lot of students think it's divide. It's not. Of means times. And then you got 128. So this is what you're trying to work out. 25 over 100 times 128. Now it goes back to fractions.
Over 1.
Before you times it, you want to simplify. Is there or are there any numbers you can simplify?
25 and 100.
Very good. What does that become?
1 is 4.
1/4. Because we know 25 and 100, they both have a common factor of 25. 25 goes into 25 once, and 25 goes in 100 4 times.
And also, then there's 4 and 128.
Very good. So here we go. Now, simplifying even further, 4 and 128. 32. So this goes in 4 times, and this is what I'm saying. The better your times tables, better your factors, you can then find your highest common factors. So 4 goes on in 28. It is true. It is 32 times. Those who didn't know, you'd have to do keep halving it until you get smaller. In this case, it becomes 32 over 1. And so what's the answer? 32 times 1 is 32 over 1 is 32. Now, am I done?
No.
No.
Money symbol.
This is done. So you see the difference between the two. This said find 25% of 128. So what is 25% of 128? It's just 32. But the other one was converted to a percentage. Then you put a units. You put units on this one, I'll take marks off you too, because it means you don't understand what the question's asking. So read the question.
You missed a step.
I asked you the same question each time.
You missed a step. You forgot to do the double one.
Thank you. You are absolutely correct. I did skip a step there. I love that you're correcting me, Ryder, because that shows that you know what question method answer is. 1 times 32 over 1 times 1. In fact, it should be just another step here. There we go. Very good. Love it. Here you go. B. 155% of 60. Same thing. 155% means 155 out of 100. That's what the percent means. Out of 100. Of, what does of mean again? Times. Very good. This is times and then 60. Your job now is to simplify as much as possible. What two factors can you see that we can simplify early?
100.
60 and 100. They both have a common factor of 10. This changes it to 155 over 10 multiplied to 6 over 1. Any more common factors? You want to simplify as much as you can.
10 and 155.
10 and 155. What common factor?
5.
5. 5 goes into 10 twice. And how many 5s go into 155?
Like, like
31.
31.
So 155. 5 goes into 1 0 times. 5 goes into 15 3 times. And the remainder 0. And so 5 goes into 5 once. So that's why I know it's 31. 31 over 2. Multiplied to 6 over 1. Any more common factors?
6 and 2.
6 and 2. Very good. 6 and 2. Sorry, I'm just going to do this. 155 and 10. Common factor?
3. 2.
2. Very good. So this now gives me 31 over 1 multiplied to 3 over 1. It's 31 times 3 over 1 times